And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Lads, I don't know what film you were watching, but it wasn't the same film I saw.
I'm all the man you need, Mark.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked and appalled.
So I'll bring it up, Ted.
It wasn't a very good movie. I laughed at it more than I laughed at The Possession.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 8, Episode 22, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have an old man who's kicked out of IKEA this week despite his protest that everyone pees in the shower. It's Mike McDonough. In the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, the only person not invited to the meeting this evening where his neighbours talk about the crazy naked dude. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies in the shape of Dawg and San Andreas, and some TV in the form of Aquarius. We'll also have some news and some previews, and coming to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing?
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you very much.
Actually, I forgot to mention we'll also be talking about Mr. Robot.
Ah.
Yeah. So, what did we see this week? Wasn't on the list. Did you see anything?
I saw Kung Fury.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did.
Did you see it, Mark?
I'm afraid I didn't.
This is a Kickstarter campaign, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, is it 20 years old or does it just look that way?
It's just meant to look that way, yeah, based on the game, yeah. It was epic.
Yes, it was.
30 minutes. It's on YouTube. Full movie.
Yeah. I was watching it and I was really, really sorry about the fact that I didn't have any mind-altering substances in my body at the time. I'd say it could be a legendary
What kind of stoner movie?
Stoner movie,
right? Yeah. Yeah, it's every action movie in one that was set in the 80s.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, there's dinosaurs, there's Thor, there's
A-Team a bit.
Yeah, there's flying Lamborghini Countach. There's
Say anything.
Yeah. Arcade machines. Oh, it's incredible. Actually, that was even made. Oh yeah, Adolf Hitler's in it as well. There's Nazis. Yeah, it
sounds like it has it all.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
it really does. And the dialogue is just absolutely terrible. It's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
They must have made a real effort to get it that bad.
Yeah,
you know, that's just not run of the mill carelessness.
No,
that takes planning to be that bad.
Like on your scale of B movies, that would be like a full blown 2.
Yeah,
you know, it'd be that high. Yeah, it's definitely worth a look. Mm-hmm. Even just check out the trailer, because it's like nothing you've seen really.
Yeah. Unless you grew up in the 80s.
Yeah. I saw Tomorrowland.
Which one was
George Clooney.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, the one with the thing that she touches.
Yeah, the badge that she touches. Yeah,
that sounds wrong.
That looked awful.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah.
So actually, does she touch George's thing? Or
no, it's her own thing. No, it's her own one. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, it's another girl's one that she got in prison.
Yeah. It's all starting to make sense.
Yeah. So, it's unusual. It's got robots and it's got future stuff and time machines and spaceships and all sorts of things. You'd love it.
Looks very nice. There's a lot of nice people in it.
It's nice in places, all right. There's quite a lot. It's an action movie more than anything, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit of a chase movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of an exploration movie. It's kind of a Sunday afternoon matinee, safe PG kind of thing at the same time.
Okay.
So I'd give it probably a very strong 6. Let's say It's not quite the 7, but it's an easy watch. Yeah.
And how's George in it?
George is good, actually. Yeah, he's very good in it. Yeah.
I heard he was spotted floating around the Irish Open golf.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, during the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everybody's going, shh, is that George?
Yeah.
God damn, it's George. Can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere these days, yeah. Mark, did you see anything strange or exciting? How's
I did actually, Steve. I saw Blood Fist 8. Way out.
There's such a thing.
There is, featuring Don the Dragon Wilson.
No way.
Quite an old film. It was filmed in Galway in 1995.
Wow.
Oh, that series. Yeah. I know the one you mean now. Yeah.
Is that one of those Connemara sci-fi things or whatever?
Connemara Kung Fu?
Yeah.
It was exactly that, yeah.
Connie Kung Fu.
It had the Clinical Science Institute in the hospital as FBI headquarters. And it has, what's that big mansion out in the west?
Kyle Morabi.
It could be.
It,
I'm not sure, Steve.
Or Renville
that was like
House.
where everything happened.
Right.
Stuff kicked off there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it also featured yours truly walking across a hall carrying filofaxes.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
You're
know
a
you
good
were in
salt.
that.
I was an extra.
You're a goddamn movie star and you didn't tell us.
How come it's not on your IMDb page?
If you could, actually, I must do an IMDb page. What have I been waiting for? No, but if you couldn't tell by my rugged chin and dashing good looks, I did actually star in movies once upon a time. So I was there as a martial arts extra because it was back in my taekwondo days when I could do a whole lot of flashy stuff that was pretty ineffective but looked good. And they took one look at me and said, "I'm sorry, sir, you're too handsome to be a thug. I think you should be a businessman." And I went, "Damn you, rugged chin." So, you asked about the baby, Steve. The baby's doing well. He's still not sleeping. He's keeping his mother awake a lot.
Keeping you on your
But,
toes. Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's carrying on. So we had his christening at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He met Jesus for the first time.
Yeah. Did you reject Satan and all his works?
It was funny because I said I do to all of those things in the appropriate places where the priest tells you to.
Yeah.
And some of the people in the chapel that know me well actually started laughing. But that aside, what I wanted to mention was I feel that they need proper airtime because they didn't get the place they deserved. But I was allowed to pick up the cake and order the cake.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to my wife, "What should the inscription on top of the cake say?" And she goes, "Well, sure, whatever you like." And then she thought, no, wait. What are you going to put on it? And I said, "Well, how about," my son's name is Avery, for the listeners that aren't aware. "How about, hi, Jesus, my name's Avery." And she just gave me a look. And I went, "What?" "Oh, the date. I need to put the date after that, right?" Turned out the date wasn't the problem. So then I said, okay, I regrouped. I said, right, it needs to be more formal. It needs to be more formal. So I said, how about, hello, Jesus. My name is Avery. Sup. Wasn't the date that time either. So in the end, like many a married couple, we compromised and the christening cake said, "On your christening day, Avery, 31/5/15."
Right.
No, it was a great day. I think we should christen them more often. Mm-hmm. We had friends and family from far and wide. Made the trip up. Well, actually, it was just family.
Yeah.
You know, before the two of you take the hump for not being invited.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have mattered. Mike wouldn't have gone anyway. So.
I would have found some other christening to go to.
Well, Mike, even if you couldn't have made it. Like, if there's any place where you're meant to visit, it's the wilds of Donegal.
Yeah,
like, they're fierce about everything up here. They're fierce drinkers, fierce footballers,
Fierce cute.
I can only imagine the rousing conversations you'd have about religion and Guinness.
Yeah.
The same conversation, probably,
It's
in a pub up here. Anyway,
it's a pretty scary place.
Donegal.
Anecdotally, yes. I've never had the nerve to cross the border.
You've never been to Donegal?
No.
You've got to put it on the bucket list.
It's one of two counties I've never been in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
what's the other one?
Derry. Sorry,
We could do
London
the
Derry.
same fucking weekend.
Okay, have you news, Mike? We go to the news with Mike.
I don't have a lot of news.
Okay, we'll go to the news with Mike.
I just heard on the radio.
Shut up a second. We're doing the cue thing. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now, Mike.
Now, Mike. Now.
But this is something you don't often hear me say. I heard this on the radio.
No way.
Oh, so obviously I was in a shop that was playing the radio while I was in there. And they were talking about Tom Hanks' son, who is apparently a rapper and has got himself into a load of shit over his continued use of the N-word, despite his extreme whiteness.
Gasp.
Yeah, so he
Shock.
he's been making all kinds of noise about how it's racist to say he can't use that word.
Is he right, Mike? Or are his arguments valid, Mike?
I'm sure they are quite valid, but I'm kind of wondering what his dad thinks about all of this. Because he's arguably one of the nicest actors in Hollywood. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's more music than movies.
Oh, it's hip hop. Oh, you said it right.
Yeah, hip hop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever them kids be
Yeah.
singing these days.
all that youth of today kind of stuff, you know.
I see.
Yeah. It's all that music that came after waltzes and jives and stuff.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the news. All right.
Yeah, that's the news.
Okay. Yeah, not a busy.
I'm sure lots of other stuff happened. I just didn't hear about it.
Okay, let's start with first of our movies, which was Dogfight. Dogfight is a documentary from Billy Corben, the director of Cocaine Cowboys fame. It's about the brutal backyard fights staged in the impoverished community of West Perrine in Florida. It's run by a guy called Dada 5000, who has gone on actually to we'll talk about it later. He's got a larger promotion going on now. But it was pretty much community backyard fights that he organised. Yeah, in a 12 by 12 ring of sorts. Yeah. Mark, you'd have liked this.
Sounds exactly like it's my kind of thing, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. He seemed to be very heavily influenced by Kimbo Slice.
He grew up down the street.
Just across the street. Yeah, he basically said, well, if Kimbo can do this, I can do it better, you know?
Well, true. Well, to put it in context, he used to be Kimbo's bodyguard. So he's a big boy.
He's a fucking huge. Jesus.
Yeah, he's a really big boy, and I've heard him described he's like the community's mayor because he's got that kind of a persona. Yeah. Now he's a smart guy. He's a degree in something like childcare. He used to work as a correctional officer, and then went into working for Department of Children and Families, checking up on kids and housing. He's obviously a smart dude. Yeah. But what he wanted to do was make the community better for his buddies and friends. Okay, so this movie is about brutal backyard fights, as we said. But sort of more so it's about these poor families, black families in this impoverished area, trying to provide for their families.
Yeah.
And earn some money. And this is sort of the only way to see having a legitimate job.
They're not earning a whole lot of money.
No, that's the other thing. They get a share of what's off the gate, and that amounted to, as we saw in some of them, was $200. But neither is Dada 5000. He's making, like his mother saying, nothing off it. Yeah. Like less than the fighters are making, you know. Yeah. But he's putting all the production into it, all the work into it.
I mean, there was one guy broke his hand and lost the fight thereby, and your man gave him $25 to make him feel better about it.
Here's a bonus. Yeah, it's true. It was interesting that the police turned up, and even though it was an illegal event, and let them carry on because in their minds, no crime happens while this is on.
Yeah.
So let's have this is a fight between two consenting adults. Let them at it. Yeah. It makes everyone else safer. So I can see the logic there, all right. But I believe after this was made that it brought it to a higher profile, and so partially or nearly mostly it was shut down due to this. Because it got so popular, so many
I suppose
YouTube
it kind of outgrew itself, really.
It did actually. So Billy Corben, I was listening to an interview with him during the week. He was actually on. He was on a few people. He was on with Joe Rogan. He was on with Opie and Anthony over the last while, but he couldn't find someone to release this for him. This was filmed in 2009, I think.
Okay, so it's sitting around quite a while.
Exactly, and he used to come down to the fights with 9 cameras. He'd get one guy in one corner or one guy in another. Well, you followed Dada 5000 all the time. You follow the fighter and this fighter, and then he'd film it, as he put it, like an action movie. Yeah. So when they edited it, they had covered everything. Which is pretty evident in this. There's very little, if narration needed at all. It's I don't remember any voiceovers at all, to be honest. Exactly. Yeah.
I still can't get over Dada 5000. like, as soon as I saw him on screen, I just thought to myself, I wouldn't hit that fucker with a car. Like,
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Now he was putting it on the line as well, because because it's illegal.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt in that, like, it's not just the guy who hit the guy; it's the guy who organised it.
Yeah.
They're both going down. And Billy Corben was saying that kind of puts him in a bit of an awkward position, because he now has evidence. You know, he said there was a couple of times like that where someone got knocked out, and he has the camera 3 feet away from him, as he says. He has the camera pointed at this guy's face, and he's like, is he going to wake up? It's like, he said, he's looking through the lens, it's like it's on TV, and then he looks over the top of the camera and goes, uh-oh. You know? But yeah, your man. Yeah, he recovered in that instance, which was good.
Did he tell a good story, Steve?
It's a great story. It's a great story. It's, like I say, it's not just about the fights, but it's about the people. It's about the community. It's about the striving to try and make it as champion in whichever production or organisation they go for. The most famous, as we say, is Kimbo Slice. And of course he was more than famous, you know, from his YouTube videos. It's just interesting to see that how far he's gone with it now, and that he is actually, in 2 days' time is his next big production.
Oh yeah.
So it's called BYB Extreme, Backyard Brawling, or Bare Fist, or whatever it's called, Extreme. And so they use a triangular cage.
Okay.
Right, and 2 of the corners are sort of beveled to allow for doors.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And so then you've one corner that's like 60 degrees.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So, but it's quite a small cage, and the reason for that is to keep fighting close. There's no escaping, there's no running away kind of thing. As they had in the backyard fights, because it was just 12 by 12. There's no reset. It's like action. And there's no rounds, but they'll stop it after 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, that kind of way. So,
and so it's 1 10-minute round then.
1 10-minute round, no gloves.
Yeah.
But he can't run it in the States, so he has hired a cruise ship, and they're going to run it on the top deck out in international waters in the Atlantic.
I'm sure that's a level in Street Fighter.
Yeah, true. The poop deck.
Actually, on the community side, probably my favourite part of this show was the 3 matriarchs.
Oh, the four women. Yeah. They're brilliant. They are brilliant. Go on.
They're almost like Waldorf and Statler, you know, commenting on all the fights and stuff that are going on. And they were. There was one of them in particular said, you know, she works with kids, she can't condone violence, but damn, that was a good fight. You know?
Yeah, that shit was off the hook. They're brilliant. They cut to them after nearly every fight, and the 4 of them are lined up in deck chairs, and they're talking about the fighters, and they're like, you know, really ripping the piss out of them. The guys are like walking by.
Yeah.
You know, they're sort of looking over their shoulders to make sure no one hears them.
But they're also setting stuff up, you know. Like, see that guy, you should fight him, you know.
Yeah. The 2 guys turn up and they're supposed to fight, and they're not on the card. And then they get the 2 of them over, and they're saying, do you want to fight him? Do you want to fight him? You guys should go and fight. We came here to see you fight. You know, this kind of thing. Anyway, the 2 guys are sort of like, okay, you know, and they end up being on the card. But
So how did the fights look? Because there's a risk with unskilled fighters.
Yes.
Whether they're there or not, I don't know, right? But there's a risk with these kind of unlicensed fights that guys can just get hammered and it all looks very brutal and pointless. Was it like that, or was it more like sporting, like a UFC fight?
It was pretty amateur.
Yeah.
There's a lot of windmilling going on. Yeah.
And some fairly brutal moments.
Yeah.
But that said, not all of them were, you know, unskilled, as it were. You know, at least one of them had a regional boxing title or whatever.
Yeah. He sat them all down and talked to them before the fight, before one of the events, and he went interviewing them. You know, why are you here? What do you want to do this for? And they're all about providing for families and so on. But some of them, then they'd list off who they fought with and who they trained with in the past. So they all have some element of training. They're not dudes who just, you know, wandered off the street kind of thing. But when it boils down to it, it is quite brawly. Yeah. I don't know if that's due to the close quarters of the ring, or just inexperience, or what. But
yeah, I'd say nerves have a lot to play with it.
Yeah. There's some guys kept coming back for more though. You know.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting actually when you know, in later parts of the show, nobody will fight Dad at 5,000, but eventually he gets an offer for, a proper MMA fight. Once the reality hits him of just how hard you have to train, it was a real eye-opener for him. I thought that was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Because he'd been kind of sitting on his laurels for a long time, nobody around here wants to touch me. But all of a sudden he's stepping into the big leagues and, oh Jesus.
Yeah, he goes to a gym for training, and it's not the pushing the grass roller around the place and doing there's a bit of a montage at the start of him jogging up and down the street and that kind of thing. It was a whole different ball game when he actually got into a gym and someone who knew what they're doing was training him.
Yeah, but he surely needed it. Like the guy they had him set up with was just an animal.
The killer gorilla. Yeah. He actually, I don't think he's fighting anymore, but he went 2-0, I believe. In his career. So. Sorry. I had a whole other point that I wanted to make earlier, and that was about the production. Right. I lost my train of thought earlier. So he couldn't find a distributor for this.
Right.
Reason being that he would bring it to a company and they'd say, "No, sorry, it's too urban."
Okay.
Urban.
Right.
I think you can read between the lines on that one. Yeah. But eventually Netflix picked it up. Fair play to them. Yeah, it's been doing great on that now. Yeah.
It was kind of funny, actually. Do you remember, like, Sean talking about the Irish film series that he's been looking at?
Yeah.
And all the American students wanted subtitles.
Yeah.
I was watching this and thinking, this could do with subtitles here and there.
Yeah.
Some of the accents were really, really thick.
Yeah, they're pretty strong, all right. Yeah. Another thing that struck me was the poverty.
Oh yeah, it's kind of third world, isn't it?
It's Miami as well.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like the difference, the gap between the rich and poor in Miami. It's blow your mind. I mean, it's really dirt poor, literally.
Yeah.
Incredible. But anyway, what do we think of this? What would you give it out of 10?
It was enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's a super classic or anything, but if you're into MMA and that kind of stuff, it's worth watching, and it gives you a bit of background on the whole Kimbo Slice kind of way of coming up through things. So yeah, I thought it was decent, but not super. So I'll give it a 6.
Okay. I thought it was a great story. I thought it was very well edited.
Yeah.
As all Billy Corben stuff is. I don't know if you've seen Cocaine Cowboys.
I have actually, yes.
Have you? Yeah. That's definitely one to look for. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It moved along. Great story, as I say. And I kind of want to see more. So, I'm going to give this an 8.
Ooh.
Yeah.
High praise indeed.
Yeah.
Well, chances are they'll make another one on the cruise ship eventually.
Possibly, yeah. I'm sure that's actually pay-per-view.
Is it?
Yeah, $9.99.
Oh, wait.
It's on
Sky Sports or something?
I don't know. It's on in 2 days, so you can look it up on bybextreme.com, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. They have a Facebook page as well. So
cool.
Yep. Okay. Next up, with first of our TV, which is Aquarius. Mark.
Aquarius is set in 1967 and tells the story centered around a young girl who falls into, I guess, the clutches of Charles Manson. Stars David Duchovny, whom you might remember from a TV show in the 90s.
He kept his hair.
He did.
Yeah.
He's looking well for his age.
I was kind of laughing at that they mentioned Charles Manson, but at the start it's like any names in this are fictitious.
Yeah.
Purely fictitious. Yeah, so we had this guy called Charles Manson, right? And he liked a lot of girls. Yeah, no relation at all. Based on true events. Yeah, what do we think of this?
Felt very authentic. No, I wasn't alive in the 60s like Mike, but in what I think the 60s were, it certainly evoked that.
Right.
The music seemed authentic. Just the whole vibe seemed to be what we're led to believe the 60s were. So I like that straight away. And sometimes when it's a period piece, and I don't know if the 60s are a period piece yet, but if you could call them that, sometimes that puts me off watching things. Mm-hmm. But it didn't in this case. I actually quite enjoyed the setting. I thought it was very well acted and very well written. I thought the characters were all good. The supporting cast were very strong. There was one guy in particular, I can't remember the name of the character now, so I'm not going to remember the actor's name, but he was kind of like the strong arm guy for Charles Manson. Mm-hmm. And he, with some very subtle acting, conveyed really epic menace. Mm. That guy doesn't need recorded breathing in a scuba tank to be threatening, or video game buttons stuck to his black suit. But yeah, it's good, and the story is quite interesting. And as soon as they mentioned Charles Manson, I looked at my good wife to see if there was any recognition, and there was none. You know who that guy is, right? Bono mentioned him in Rattle and Hum.
And then she says, "Who's Bono?"
yeah. But it's interesting. It is interesting, and I think in this instance, the setting actually helps revitalize something we've seen a lot of times before. Because, you turn on your TV any night between 8 and 11 o'clock and there's going to be at least 2 shows about a serial killer of some kind.
Yeah.
And cults are just all part of that whole thing. But I thought this one was almost kind of fresh. So I enjoyed it, Steve.
Mike?
Yeah, when I turned this on, I thought, oh, fuck, it's the 60s. The decade of even worse hair than the 70s, and shitty dresses and all that.
Don't know what dresses you're thinking of, Mike. It just didn't fit you back then.
Yeah. So I was instantly on my guard, and I thought, oh God, this is going to be such a long, long time. But I stuck with it, and once David Duchovny showed up with his sort of, what's the word?
Suave.
I would say casual disregard for all things hippie. I thought, okay, there's someone fighting my corner here. Take your goddamn hippie bullshit and shove it. And I thought he was very, very good at being an outsider within the society. He's kind of a relic that is no longer fashionable.
Right.
But yet he's still in a position of power.
Like he's in his 40s or something.
Sure up you bollocks.
Joking.
I quite like the dynamic between himself and the younger cop.
Yeah.
Because they capture the generational difference as well as the cultural difference very, very well. And the young guy is, while he's kind of got the hippie sort of thing going on, you can see he's got a hard edge to him.
Yeah.
And
bit of rough, Mike.
A bit of rough.
Bit of rough.
Yeah. But what I thought was most interesting about this was the reversal of expectations, because you have your whole summer of love bullshit that you associate with this era, and particularly California, and what they do is have all the nastiest people in the show are hippies,
right,
or part of that milieu.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was nice the way they kind of set you up with one thing and then boom, it's
right.
Not as it seems. As Mark said, the supporting cast I thought were pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't have any complaints about anyone really. Especially that threatening sidekick.
Right.
Yeah, he's pretty scary.
Yeah, he was pretty good, all right.
Yeah. I don't know about the female side of it. They made them very, very kind of victimized, I thought.
Right.
Except for the female cop. She she was the one standout in it who wasn't living up to stereotypes, and you could see, she looks like a stereotype.
Yeah.
But then they put her into a situation, and again, she doesn't behave how you expect she's going to behave. So I like the way they handled that. And I thought the pacing was pretty decent. There was no time that I felt sort of bored and kind of that kind of thing. And I like the little bits of social commentary here and there, like the that bit when he said the brains here didn't notice we had a radio in the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah,
actually,
just little things like that. I thought were very good.
Yeah.
So overall, I was pretty happy with it.
Right. Well, I don't know what you watched. I'm kind of agreeing with you. You've got a lot of good points there, but as a
Facts
whole,
and
as a
logic
whole,
and
yeah, no, but as a whole, I thought it was kind of poor actually.
really,
Yeah. I did find it a bit long. I didn't find the case that interesting.
okay.
Charles Manson character is very good to the point that I want to just smash him in the face every time he opens his mouth. He's just annoying, really, and he gets a fair bit of airtime.
Yeah.
No, I thought like you said, the henchman was pretty good. The what do you call it? The David Duchovny's partner. David Duchovny is very good.
Yeah.
David Duchovny's partner, who was Grey Damon, he was really good as well.
That's a whole lot of good, Steve.
Yeah, there's a lot of good elements to this, but it's not strong. I just found the dialogue a bit weak, the story a bit weak, the setting, the year. I didn't even realize what year it was until further in, so that kind of didn't play into it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll be watching more of this. Yeah.
Jesus, I'm amazed. I thought this would be right up your street. Yeah, I had images of Steve watching this, with his guitar playing along to this shitty 60s music. with a bandana and a flower in his ear.
Playing all my Donovan hits. Yeah. No, sorry, Mike. No, you're
getting all conservative as you get older.
Yeah. No.
You're going to be 40 one day.
No, I just
and
found
I'm
this.
going to laugh.
I just found this very sort of beige. It just didn't grab me. Just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
It's about a kid goes missing. Charles Manson has her. Right.
Yeah. I suppose there is a certain lack of urgency about it.
Yeah, it's just like, we'll find her.
Yeah.
Whenever. There's no sort of like, shit, get the helicopters. There's none of that. It's just like, okay, we're going to trace them down over a few weeks. See how we get on.
But the tension is provided by knowing who she's fallen in with, though.
Yeah.
It's
a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Mike's somewhat inelegant metaphor. I do agree.
Maybe.
So like there's an what seems to be a really innocent girl in a very bad situation that's gradually being revealed. But as the viewer and having some background about Charles Manson and all of that, you can see a little bit ahead, and there's almost that pantomime thing of, no, look behind you.
Yeah.
And I get that there isn't the urgency to find him. Like, Duchovny really does look like he's just tipping along in third gear.
Yeah.
And he knows he's going to figure this out, but he doesn't have that. But there should be, and I almost felt that kind of invested me more, because come on, they better fucking find this girl soon, like.
Yeah.
But
I have a feeling that case will drag out for the season, and we'll have several offshoot cases that the other two cops are involved in. That kind of way.
Yeah.
Just to keep it interesting. That kind of way. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm probably not going to watch any more of this, and I'm going to give this filler.
Okay. Well, despite my initial reservations, I did like it. And I've got a slot free in my weekly viewing. I think I might have to slip this in there.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Going to give this a thriller.
Series linked.
So we're in between, like, the end of what was the fall TV lineup and the start of the summer.
Yeah.
So I have a few gaps as well that Big Brother hasn't permeated. So I'm going to watch at least one more.
Right.
And then make a permanent decision at that point. But I think it's worthwhile. I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah. How much time are you spending on Big Brother these days?
An hour every day and 2 hours on Fridays.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, that's okay, but at least Britain's Got Talent is finished.
Oh, God. I heard a dog
Last
won it.
week, that was also an hour a day.
Wasn't there a dog with
There
a
was a
stunt
dog.
double?
He won it, yeah. No, or the double won it, or both of them won it. I'm not sure. Or maybe it was the trainer won it. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, well, that brings us on to the second of our TV, which is Mr. Robot. Do you want to tell us about Mr. Robot as well, Mark?
I kind of feel like, yeah. Mr. Robot features a security
Analyst?
computer security savant. He is working for a corporation that he refers to as Evil Corp. And during the program, the company gets hacked. He's called in to stop it. And he falls into league with a bunch of hackers that are trying to change the world for the better, led by a guy that looks a lot like Christian Slater.
Who just happens to be Christian Slater. Yeah. So this stars Christian Slater and Rami Malek is his name. We've seen him in a few times before in things
What's
like
he in?
Fast and the Furious. And
Fast and the Furious.
yeah,
Fast and the Furious. Who's he in Fast and the Furious?
he was also in 24, and he was in Need for Speed, A Night at the Museum. I think he played an Egyptian in that. Yeah. Yeah, he's in lots of stuff like that, but I haven't seen him I haven't seen him headline before, you know. So, yeah, I thought he was really strong in this. He kind of plays, I guess, a programmer, as you say, savant, security savant, with quite an antisocial disorder.
That's so unusual for
So
computer
unusual.
people.
Yeah, but he connects with people by hacking them.
Okay.
And exploring all their social media and emails and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's quite a good narration going on in the background with his voice. You know, describing exactly what he's up to and what his thought processes and all that kind of thing. And it's very well done, I think. Normally narration can sort of get on our nerves. We saw a movie recently where it was annoying us quite a lot.
Oh, last week with Age of Adeline.
Adeline, yeah, exactly. Where it didn't work, but it works quite well in this. It's not a spoon-feeding thing, but it's more of it's more descriptive, let's say. He plays the part so well. Like he's so strong in this. I just thought he was brilliant. He was completely believable from the off. And he's on the screen 99% of the time.
Okay.
So he really, really carries the show well.
Is he good at typing?
He's pretty good at typing, but it doesn't feature in it.
Okay.
But you're just assumed that he can type quite well. Yeah.
He types actual Unix commands.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah. They use the real deal.
On a
They've
real
done the
Unix
research.
system.
Yeah, they've done the research in this one. Yeah. And that's the thing, because if he didn't, it would have been really annoying.
Yeah.
You know, really annoying, as with all. But the fact that they've done the research and he's doing stuff that's
Could happen.
Could happen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be refreshing if they had a computer-based show that was just filled with fucking morons, like real life?
How do you mean? Like Big Brother with computers?
Like anybody who works in the industry comes across, Dilberty kind of stuff all the time. But in any of these shows, whether it's all our AI movies or whatever, they're all brilliant.
Oh, right.
They never make mistakes.
Yeah.
They never have to have a do-over.
Yeah. Don't! Let's reboot this fucking thing again. Yeah. But anyway, this is quite good because the action moves along quite. It starts off really well. He meets this guy in a coffee shop, and the conversation is very well done, and dialogue's great.
Yeah.
And it moves. That just had me hook, line, and sinker. That start, and then it continues in that sort of guise, let's say. Christian Slater appears in it, and you sort of see him in the background a few times. You go, what's going on here? And that kind of explains itself later. And it turns out that our hero, our protagonist, is a real sort of anarchist.
Okay.
and he's got really strong views and stuff. But because of his antisocial sort of issue, he can't verbalize them. He's not good at talking
Right.
or relationships. Or
I got
stuff
nowhere
like that.
else to go.
Kind of in a way, you know. But I just thought it was very well done. There was no bullshit in the dialogue. There's no cliches, and there's nothing there that didn't need to be there. You know. Yeah.
So, I'm trying to work out: is it, you know, the hacking thing? Is it a kind of is he a social predator, or is he just so needy of human interaction?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. He just wants to find out more about people. He doesn't abuse it so much.
Okay.
He sort of does good.
He
you know,
doesn't
kind of
frape them or
he
anything.
saves the cat, you see.
Okay.
Yeah. So he uses it to do good.
Is it a 3D cat or?
No. He uses it now and again for social good.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's trying to. He's got a real problem with money, and he has a couple of great monologues in the narration where he almost train spotting style.
Okay.
Where he talks about various aspects of society and why it's bad and why we're hooked up in materialism, and here we are all plugged in and so on. Yeah, it's quite good that way. Yeah.
So who do you think would win in a fight, him or Christian Slater?
Definitely Christian Slater. He has the bone density. Mark, are you any more on this?
Yeah, so it's really enjoyable, Steve. We are beset with characters really, really good at specific jobs.
Yeah.
Probably due to, being somewhere on the autism spectrum or something like that. And this guy is obviously, he's been written like he is on the spectrum. And it makes him a really interesting character, actually. I liked the way they portrayed his view of the world, because we're seeing pretty much everything from his point of view because of the constant narration. And it is constant, if that kind of thing isn't your deal, this isn't definitely not a show for you, because there really isn't much of a let up from that. And it's necessary, because quite a lot of the time he's just standing there looking at the world. It's only in the very rare instances, and they're really good instances, when he affects it directly, like you were talking about in the social good scenario. Early in the show, that's a really good scene. So I liked it. I think you guys have already covered it, but he's a tremendously well-written character. He's really interesting, and the events just tip along, pulling you onward, and it never really drags. So a good show all around, I think.
Do you think over the series maybe he'll end up meeting Felicity from Arrow on Tinder? Or?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Completely different universe.
I don't know. I've seen her run DOS commands and Unix commands as well.
Not a chance.
Match made in heaven.
No, you wouldn't be interested. What was I going to say? This is getting rave reviews, not just from me. It's a 9.4 on IMDb, and it's 4 out of 5s everywhere else. So so it's a strong series. This is definitely going on the series link. You're looking for something to fill in?
Yep.
This is one I would highly recommend.
All right.
Yep. So thriller. Be Jesus for me. Yeah.
Yes, thriller for me as well, Steve.
Great stuff. Okay. Next up we have the second of our movies, which is San Andreas. Mike, you're going to have to tell us about this. In 5 words or less.
Imagine if California was about to fall into the sea. Who would you want to be there on the end of the phone? Dwayne fucking Johnson. That's who you want.
Fact, Mike.
So this is the story of a big-ass earthquake in California. And The Rock is equipped with a helicopter to basically go and rescue his family.
And ignore everyone else.
Yeah, fuck the rest of them.
So, who did you want on the end of the phone again? Because he's not going to be there.
Yeah. So, this is your mega-scale disaster movie.
Yeah.
With big actors.
Yeah.
Big disasters.
Yeah.
Big effects.
All kinds.
Big screens.
Yeah.
It's all big. There you go.
Yep. Except for the plot.
Plot?
Yeah. That was pretty minuscule.
The fuck do you want to plot
I know.
for?
Yeah. That's,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
This is the thing.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. You don't go to this kind of movie looking for a plot. It's true. Yeah. This is a by the numbers golden fleece movie, isn't it? As defined by Blake Snyder.
Yeah.
In Save the Cat. This is a road trip movie. Mm-hmm. Sort of, by definition.
Yeah. Is it like The Day After Tomorrow?
Yes.
Only bigger.
Yeah, and it's like all of those disaster movies.
Yeah.
All of them actually. Yeah. It's like all of them. Yeah. And it's it's a road trip. The hero's guided along, by a buddy, or in this case his wife, or his ex-wife. Yeah. Yeah. Cue the subplot B that we're not really that interested in. Mm-hmm. And there's a prize at the end of it that he's seeking. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it's the daughter. Mm-hmm. Now, you apply that to any road trip movie, and it fits. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Star Wars, for example. Now, the plot is pretty much The Rock rescuing people, massive earthquake, road splitting, buildings falling, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did ask about The Day After Tomorrow. It's very like The Day After Tomorrow, except imagine if the young lad in The Day After Tomorrow didn't have a dweeb scientist dad, but he could call The Rock to come and get him.
This is massive CGI action set pieces interspersed with pretty weak dialogue, actually. Who will we call?
But The Rock is
call
saying dialogue.
Everybody. What? Sorry?
The Rock is actually saying the dialogue, though.
Well, Paul Giamatti's in it.
Yeah.
And he has quite a lot to say for himself. Mm-hmm. As he is the scientist that discovers he can predict earthquakes. And Paul Giamatti is brilliant because he's Paul Giamatti. And he's the guy who says, call everyone. Yeah. Which is nearly a directly quote from Leon, I thought.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, there's some pretty weak relationship stuff going on in there. And
Paul might get his leg over. They left that open to us.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean Paul specifically. I mean the movie as a whole. And the thing is, it's massive earthquake and massive destruction and people dying, but it's very PG.
Yes.
There's not one drop of blood anywhere. Did you notice that? There's absolutely nothing. Nothing. Yeah. There's some like I say, there's a lot of CGI, but a lot of it's very well done CGI. There's some very eye-opening, awe-inducing scenes that I didn't see in the trailer that are sort of like, wow, that was cool. Yeah. But I'm not mad about CGI, really. Yeah. But that was cool. Yeah. I know, Mark, you'd be all over the so John, actually. I'm sure you were as well.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I have to say, if you got a chance to see it in the cinema. Don't wait for video. Yeah. This movie needs the 50-foot screen.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There are several scenes where you're just looking at going, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of lucky escapes as well.
There are.
Yeah. Coincidental, amazing escapes.
Yeah.
His daughter's played by Alexandria Daddario. Oh, excuse me. And she's off. She's managed to get separated and off somewhere else. And of course, they're separated by a large space. And she is trying to find a place for her to be safe and hide.
Yeah.
And he has to search for her with his ex-wife, pretty much. Yeah. She does a good job. It's not a great job. She doesn't have a lot to play with, really.
No, I don't think that's fair.
Okay, maybe she did have a lot to play with and she was really bad. How about that? Because she was really, really good in True Detective, and see her in this is just kind of sad.
Well,
for me, because she was so good in True Detective, I was like, oh, serious actress. Then you're looking at this going, oh, not so serious actress.
Well, think about the type of movie you're watching.
I know. But still.
Yeah, you've got two female leads. Both with very good figures. So what they do is they put them in tight clothes and make them spend the entire movie either running or leaning over something.
Or soaking wet.
So that's obviously like something that's going to drive Shona absolutely fucking mental.
It's true.
But
It's true.
they do turn it around a little bit, and Alessandra, instead of being just somebody to be rescued,
Yeah.
actually can do stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Of course, her dad's the Rock.
Yeah.
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 It's all in the genes.
That's right. Yeah. All in the genes. Yeah. So it's really quite abusive in that regard. But
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
they have made an effort to what's the word?
Well, it's pretty obvious what demographic this is aimed at.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But 50-foot Alessandra, you can't really argue with that.
I'm trying to think of something else to say about this. I can't really. It's just it's a disaster movie with
Yeah.
CGI,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, not a whole lot of plot. And actually, their attempts to make relationships matter. And so, God, they get cheesy.
Yeah.
Again, it's just really cheesy.
Actually, I really, really enjoyed some of the shitty setups for backstory. Yeah, we're going to fuel up the plane here. Let's have some backstory.
Yeah. Let's talk about her dead daughter. Do you know the other one? Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the CGI is impressive. The rest of it isn't. So based on that, I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh,
Ooh, harsh.
I don't think so. I think that's pretty good actually, considering the type of movie it is.
And what about? I can never get this guy's name right. Johan Grufford.
Johan Grufford.
He's the wife's new squeeze,
Oh yeah.
and I must say I felt really, really sorry for him because number one,
Can never catch a break. Like that.
yeah, number one, he gets a new girlfriend. Great, happy for you. And then he discovers her daughter looks like that. Don't! Can you imagine having that walking around the house? Oh, Jesus.
Just call me daddy. Oh God.
And then to make it worse, he finds out that her ex is the fucking Rock. How can you follow that?
Yeah.
And imagine if he takes a set on you.
Oh yeah.
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 That's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Johan Grufford. He's Welsh.
Yeah, it sounds Welsh.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But there was some interesting morality
Oh come on, Mike.
situations in this. Because
Did you learn something, Mike?
I did, yes, yes. Well, first thing I learned is that let me start again. There is a theme running through the movie that if you're not a nice person, you're a bad person.
Yes.
Okay? But yet, there are some major scenes where they indicate that being a nice person will cause you to die.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of a...
So it's a win, lose, win,
Yeah.
lose. Which is it? Yeah.
And then, there is definitely a criticism of people who are not nice people, but yet the hero has basically, abandoned his post and said, fuck y'all.
That's what I thought. It was never addressed.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm just going to rob this helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anyone where I'm going in this moment of crisis.
Yeah. My city needs me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got an ex-wife to pick up.
I was just waiting for him to go down and fucking smash that bat signal thing.
We've said enough. Give us a mark.
I would not watch this on DVD.
I would not watch it again on anything.
If you like disaster movies, it's fucking great on a big screen.
Right.
So I'm going to give this an enjoyable 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did donate my brain at the door.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So next up, we'll have some previews and Coming to a Bicycle near you. So the first one is the remake of Point Break. What do you think of this, Mark?
Oh man, I can't wait for this one, I can tell you. Like, how awesome was the original Point Break?
Yeah.
All this one is missing is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. They've updated it quite well, haven't they? With like the extreme sports that didn't exist.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really long trailer, possibly giving away a bit much, but still just some amazing set pieces. I have got to get myself a wingsuit.
Yeah.
And jump off something really high.
The wardrobe.
Like I've done it a few times in Call of Duty, but I wouldn't mind doing it in Ireland somewhere. That's usually in the States or somewhere in Quadahalahar.
There's a couple of scenes in that are really what's the word? What's the word when you're up on heights? Vertigo inducing. Thank you. Yes, vertigo inducing. I really felt it, especially near the end of the trailer, where two of them sort of fall off a waterfall kind of thing. It was just like, oh my god! Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
I wonder will they end this one off the coast of Clare instead of Australia?
There's not so much surfing going on in this one. There's only a little bit, sort of hinted at, but it's more like wingsuits and snowboarding.
Okay.
Yeah, and he didn't say that he had to infiltrate a gang of surfers. He had to infiltrate a gang of extreme sports athletes like him.
Yeah.
The plot thickens.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to get the whole learning how to surf montage.
Right.
That was famous in the first one. Are the Chili Peppers in this one, I wonder? Will they do an El cameo?
Probably. But it's interesting, because if you look back on Point Break, right, the story of that is very close to Fast and Furious, the first film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that franchise is obviously money times 10 now. So I wonder if this is an attempt to create another franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's already got a dead guy.
Which one?
Bodhi.
Which one? Explain yourself, Mike.
What's his name?
It wasn't
I
Nick
hate when Mike
Nolte, was
says that he has no news and then he's hiding all
Who's
these
dead?
information.
Nick Nolte.
No, from the original movie.
Oh, Keanu Reeves and what's his name? Big smiley face man. He's still alive, isn't he?
No.
Busey.
No.
Gary Busey.
The other guy.
The other guy. Who's the other guy?
Dana Elker.
Oh my god.
Come on, Mike.
You're killing me.
Tom Cruise.
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
Bruce Willis.
It was Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. See, if it said Dirty Dancing, I'd have been all over it. But was he in that? Oh, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. It's out Christmas in 3D. Yeah, definitely one for the 3D for the whole vertigo effect.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
So the second one we looked at was Cop Car.
What a delightful film.
This looks kind of cool. Kevin Bacon. Looking as evil as I've ever seen Kevin Bacon look.
All right.
He's got a tash and he's a cop. He's a dirty cop. Two kids stumble across a cop car, sort of in a little valley type of thing.
Right.
And they start messing with it and go, oh, it's a cop car. And then they start messing and driving it. And someone spots them, reports them. And Kevin Bacon's obviously been looking for this.
Right.
And he gets over the radio and goes, you kids, you're going to get it, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't look in the trunk. So the kids look in the trunk. And then we see a montage of Kevin Bacon getting rid of drugs and kids being chased and Kevin Bacon being shot or something. And yeah, there's a big whole chase movie thing going on.
Sounds very Bad Lieutenant-ish.
Yeah, not unlike it, but it's out in sort of like Kansas or somewhere. You know, I don't know, that kind of setting, you know, so yeah. That was that. It looks interesting. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I like at the start when it's just the two kids messing around with the cop car before it gets dark. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And you're actually enjoying it on behalf of the kids that are on screen.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to pull us into the story really well. And if they can do that and you've got Kevin Bacon giving it what he seems to be in the trailer, I think it's going to be great. It's a surefire formula for success.
I bet you Jake Gyllenhaal is in the trunk.
Doubt it. And the last one we looked at was Joe Dirt 2. Have you seen Joe Dirt?
No.
Okay, you'd love it. It stars David Spade, Brittany Daniel, and Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken being the bad guy. Joe Dirt is a happy family man. He finds himself transported back into the recent past. And he tries to get back to his family and stuff. But things happen to him. And he is your stereotypical... what's that series you used to watch? The Trailer Trash Boys or whatever it's called?
Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys, that kind of thing. He's got the huge mullet.
Okay.
And, he's got quite a funny accent. And, funny things happen to him. It's comedy.
Does he drive a camera?
Many trucks, I think. I don't know if his camera was in there, yeah. A Silverado, maybe.
It's like ketchup.
Mark, did you see this?
Yeah, this is not my kind of thing at all, Steve. I will hopefully never have to watch this.
I think Mike would absolutely love this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You have to catch up with that trailer, actually. Yeah.
Damn sure.
I think that's it for this week. Yeah. I think Sean is back next week. With some luck. He'll be finished his Irish movie group lesson school thing. So,
he's just going to spend the next 6 weeks trying to educate us about Irish cinema.
No harm.
Did you ever see The Field, lads?
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it there. So from Mike, Mark and Steve, stay classy.